Heavy Metal Magazine, number 4, July of 1977. Okay, folks, today we are looking at Heavy Metal Magazine, number 4, from July of 1977. To start off, this is a fantastic cover by Moebius. This is HARZACH, and there is a special 2-page spread of this beautiful work inside this magazine. And you have Supertramp right here, Crimes of the Century. Crisis? What crisis? I saw him a couple of times live back in the day. Brother, where you bound, man, like a cannonball. So here's the chainmail, of course, and there's always a couple of good ones in the chainmail. So let's start at the top. Dear Heavy Metal, bizarre, that's the word. Loved your May issue. The cover is now on my wall. Now he is referring to the great Moebius cover of issue number 2, the May issue of 1977. The cover is now on my wall. Will there be wall posters of heavy metal characters coming out soon? Marty Rees, Montreal, Canada. And their answer, are you serious, sir? This is the 21st century communications publishing empire. We will sell you everything from heavy metal posters to ties, ashtrays, underarm guards, and birth control devices, now that heavy metal sales have shown that there are hundreds of thousands of people out there who are just as weird as we thought. We also have this key letter. Now this kind of explains a bit as far as the content between Metal Hurlant and Heavy Metal. So here we go. Dear Heavy Metal, are the editors of Heavy Metal interested in exploring original material, or is the magazine devoted solely to import material? Answer. For our first dozen issues, we plan to use mostly import material, plus such local talent as Frank Frazetta, Bernie Wrightson, Gray Morrow, Ed Davis, and of course Von Baudet. Later, as we catch up with the French magazine Metal Hurlant, we will be looking for some homegrown stuff. So keep in touch. And there you have it, folks. That's it. I mean, for the most part, they're using Metal Hurlant, but they're already adding some stuff, as he's saying right there. Planning to use Frank Frazetta, Bernie Wrightson. Well, in the next issue, the cover is Bernie Wrightson. So they're already, it's beyond the planning to stage. They're doing it already. And of course, as we had discussed before, there's stuff in Metal Hurlant that simply never shows up in Heavy Metal Magazine, and vice versa. This Moebius black and white is just great with all these characters. You've seen this before. It's a HARZACH page here, and it says down at the bottom, let's hear it for the evolution. This is a scene from something we're also going to be seeing in this issue, which is the part 1 of the great story, The Long Tomorrow, written by Dan O'Bannon and illustrated by Moebius. But first, let's take a look at the index page and the contents. First, you have, of course, HARZACH right here. This is the HARZACH one-pager. Yet, which, of course, the editorial. Approaching Centauri, which was the lead-off story, the first story in Metal Hurlant issue number 1, as you may recall. And then we have Den by Corben, continuing. The Prince of Mist, which is a story by Walter Perry. World Apart by Davis, 1996, of course, again, by Montellier. Nepsimo by Voss. Voss coming back with some action here. HARZACH, of course, the story by Moebius, continuing story. Conquering Armies by Gall and Dionnet. Sunpot by Baudet. The Golden Queen by Bihannic and Droulet. The Long Tomorrow by O'Bannon and Moebius. Crossroads of the Universe by Bilal. And we end with HARZACH by Moebius. I believe that's a one-pager. The cover is called HARZACH Rides Again. And you're going to see a 2-page spread in here, folks. It is fantastic. And here's a little Tolkien. Oh yes, advertising some puzzles, some Middle-earth puzzles and so forth. Yep, a map of Middle-earth right there. And some other stuff. God, I used to have this poster, folks. the Middle-earth mural, famous artwork for the original Ballantine Books edition of The Lord of the Rings. I had this and it was on my wall. And I'm talking, I don't know, I was like 14, 15. That was on my wall. Definitely. Here we go with the editorial. Yet, 21 pages of this issue belong to Moebius. 21 pages, folks. Because, of course, he's illustrating The Long Tomorrow, and he's got HARZACH and those one-pagers of HARZACH as well. So, he is just all over this issue. Should keep Moebius freaks busy, and we'll get some quiet around here. The complete adventures of HARZACH to be published in book form in America in September, so that would be September of 1977, along with another Moebius anthology and 6 assorted strangenesses, will be heavy metal's way of saying thank you, give us more money, thank you again. DNA and Farkas, 2 of the original humanoids who caused Metal Hurlant to happen in France, recently materialized here, gave heavy metal their blessings, bought jeans, Keds, a gross of Jerry Lewis glossies, a carton of Luckies, and took off in an eerily silent Concorde. Refused under torture to reveal details about Moebius. Clearly tales of messenger pterodactyl arriving with manuscript, waiting impatiently for tip, flying off into the night, untotally true. Ditto the doodle theory, the rumors of mainlining civet cat pituitary juices, 3 eyes, etc., etc. Clearly Moebius has the most international, not to speak of intergalactic, possibilities of a Metal Hurlant heavy metal artist. He is easiest to translate. HARZACH concludes in this issue, as does Sunpot. That's Von Baudet's Sunpot. So you won't have Von Baudet to kick around anymore. Moebius approaching Centauri. Now this, as I said, was the first story that kicked off Metal Hurlant, 1975. And they're doing it here. So we have Approaching Centauri, of course, in black and white again. Although it is in color in another volume. Fabulous color. Of course, from Richard Corben in Den, as Den continues in issue number 4. I love this. Come, run for the bat creature. And there's the bat right there. He's munching out, some hapless victim. And they jump on the bat and fly off. So they're getting kind of jiggy with it there. Once again, Corben's great action work. He just, does that thing with battling or fights or whatever, just motion, human motion, the way the body moves. He has just got that nailed. And here we are with Walter Perry's story, The Prince of Mist. Now this art, this great art here, is by Nicolay, and this appears on one of the early covers of Metal Hurlant. And here we go with E.E. Davis, World Apart. But some nice coloring on this as well. I like it. Well done. And then, of course, we have Montellier with 1996. Another, he just does these, like typically they're 1 or 2 pages. This is a 1-pager. And yeah, here we go with Nepsimo. This is Voss. And just the strangest fucking stories. I mean, like weird clown freaks and stuff. I love this moped, though. That is just really... that is just really something. Obviously, I love the color stuff in heavy metal. But he's another one of those artists that works very well in black and white. And now check out this beauty. Look at that, HARZACH by Moebius. Just, God, this, I mean, you're seeing the right colors, folks. It's intense. It's just like, God, if I could have taken like just, I don't know, a couple of classes, from Moebius on coloring, on what he does. I just watch him. Maybe there's a video on Moebius actually painting, coloring one of these panels or a story or something. And look at this 2-pager. I mean, feast your Vulcan squinties on that, friends. Right there. This was almost immediately, I believe as of 1977, available as a huge poster. We're talking about I think at least a 24 by 36, possibly a bit larger, sold through Montellier. You notice this incredible piece up here, and you will see this in Road Warrior, Mad Max Road Warrior. It is on one of the cars. And we are here with Gaul, Dionne, and Conquering Armies. I love this. Just fantastic. Line work by Gaul, of course. And here we go with Chapter 5, the second to the last chapter of Sunpot by Von Baudet. And of course Sunpot is floating around, and they get some kind of a problem. Something wrong with the system, the ship's system, and they're all going to die if they don't clean the system inside. The environment's going to get poisoned. In Chapter 6, well, here's Sunpot floating in space. And indeed, they're all dead. Everything's like this pukey kind of green inside, and people are just floating around dead. Sadly, there's Belinda Bump dead. All the other characters. And it says, inside on the floor, sick yellow smog is a roll. Belinda Bump is a lifeless thing with no more thoughts. And Dr. Electric, his dilated eyes are forever fixed on the stars. And Sunpot is dead. Droulet being the writer in this instance, and Bihannic is the artist. The incredible line work. I'll show you some more of this in detail in Montellier when we go through those, but you can get a pretty damn good idea here as to just how insane this guy was with detail. And of course the problem being is that you're doing a page like this. I don't know, it's going to take you at least a week to do one page, maybe more. So not very practical, of course, when you have a magazine and you're trying to hit a deadline basically as much as possible. It's not really going to work out too well. Here we go, the first part of The Long Tomorrow by Dan O'Bannon with art by Moebius. And of course we have seen this before, but this is the first time it appears in Heavy Metal magazine for issue number 4, July 1977. And his color work here, once again, it's great. I would love to learn more about how to do this, because this is the type of stuff I think I would like to do when coloring. It's just fantastic, folks. Crossroads of the Universe by Enki Bilal. Fantastic cross-hatching. It's reminiscent really of Moebius, but I think he gets a little more into it, at least with this story. He is just a cross-hatching madman with this. You can see there. Fantastic stuff, man. That is just some intense. People that cross-hatch or have done cross-hatching, you gotta just love this. I mean, that's, wow. A mini piece here of HARZACH, or HARZACH. So HARZACH is pissing, taking a pee. The cops come up and they're like, hey, what are you doing? Cop pulls out a gun and HARZACH's like, no, no, no. And then his piss starts coming alive and it just engulfs the cop car and the cops, of course. And then HARZACH's running. He runs, he's running fast. And of course he runs behind this rock and this guy's taking a crap. Fiend. So there you go. And of course that's the back, you know, as we saw, the front and back, a wonderful 2-page spread of this scene from HARZACH. Heavy Metal number 4 from July of 1977. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will talk to you soon.